Look, a cold call is your front line of defense, offense, bottom line of your business. Cold calling is the front line of everything to do with selling and or sales. Regardless of what anyone tells you, regardless of what you've seen on the internet, at some point in your career, regardless of your situation right now, or your position, whether you're an engineer involved in internet strategies, develop websites, you're an artist, an actor, an actress, a housewife, a husband, at some point in your career, you will make a cold call. You will call someone you don't know. First, let's just define the cold call. It is defined as the solicitation of a potential customer who was not anticipating that interaction. Now, when I say that, it could be calling a teacher you don't know for your kid. That, by the way, is a cold call where you'll be trying to convince the teacher of something, maybe a better grade, time off, or whatever. Look, cold calling is an action where a salesperson, a technician, a service person, a parent, a concerned citizen contacts an individual or business or an investor who had not previously expressed any interest in your product or service or your idea that you're trying to sell in order for them to determine if there might be interest in what that person, you, might have to sell. You're selling an idea, you're selling a concept, you want a job, you're selling, right? And at some point in your career, some point in your life, you will pick up the phone and make a call. Cold calling typically refers to phone calls, but could also entail a drop-in visit, a knock on a door. I know people that make, I know 20-year-old people that make hundreds of thousands of dollars in 6 months knocking on doors, cold calling. At the age of 20, imagine making $300,000 or $400,000 in 5 or 6 months. I know people that do that every year. Also, cold calls are not just with people you don't know, but will also include many times when you're calling somebody you do know that you thought was warm, that you thought was interested in your product, and that later you find out, dude, they're as cold as ice. I'm gonna tell you something. I've called people that know me, that I had Thanksgiving dinner with, and I called the following Monday, and the call was colder than had I never met them. That's gonna happen to you, I promise you. Cold calling is the front line of selling. This is guerrilla marketing at its best. It's your infantry, and it can be one of the hardest things for a salesperson to do when not prepared. And most people are not prepared to make this call because let's face it, your parents didn't teach you this, the schools didn't teach you this, college doesn't have a course. Okay, you're basically taught to hate it, to hate doing it, that it's a bad investment of time and energy. I'm going to prove to you in these courses that cold calling, anyone can do this, anyone can do it successfully. It's not outdated, it's not old, it's extremely effective. Everyone has to do it. Look, who doesn't make a cold call? Who hasn't called a girl or a guy or a friend or a buddy? Who hadn't been stuck in an elevator or a cab or had to knock on a door or go into a job interview and do something cold? Just because there's no phone doesn't mean it's not a call, right? You're contacting somebody. Most people say, hey, this guy wants your product. Oh my God, what do I call and talk to him about? That's a cold call, right? You have a lead. Interested in your product or your service or your idea or your company or making an investment. How are you going to make that call to Mark Cuban? You don't know Mark. You don't know me. And most people don't know how to make that call. So I'm going to be helping you here in these courses to show you how to get completely cool on the call, how to make this call with anyone at any time, how to handle objections, how to handle the receiver, how to handle people that don't want the call. Look, people would rather spend money to advertise than make this call. You know why? Because spending money is easier than picking up the phone and saying, I want to make an outbound call to somebody. I'm not going to spend money. I'm going to spend energy. I'm going to invest energy in a call rather than spending money on the hopes that I get a lead. The argument against cold calls is that it has low return on energy. Look, I built 4 companies. I saw something on the internet recently. Cold calling is dead. It's a terrible investment. I'm sitting there like, dude, I got 4 companies. We're going to do $100 million this year in sales. Those 4 businesses were built off of cold calls. Cold. Not knowing someone and calling them built my first business. So don't tell me it's dead. Give me a phone number right now and I guarantee you I have a shot. I have a better chance of making a cold call and getting a sale or at least creating interest in my product than I have of winning the lottery. Right? It's a much better chance. Hey, the benefits of a cold call, number one, it builds courage. You need to build courage to be successful as an entrepreneur. In business, you need courage. You don't need money. No courage, no money, okay? People tell me all the time, I need money to make money. Do you need courage to make money, okay? The cold call is going to help you build your courage. I'm going to show you how to do it. Number two, you have to work out your presentation at some point. Work it out on a cold market, not a hot or a warm market. So when I hire new people, I'm like, look, here's a list of people that don't know me. Call them. Oh my God. I don't want to waste your presentation or my name or my opportunity on somebody that already knows me. Let's work out the presentation on people that you don't know. There's 7 billion people on this planet, of which I could call all 7 billion today and call them back tomorrow, and they wouldn't even know I called them yesterday, right? So there's way more than 7 billion. And number three, save money on advertising. If I make a cold call, I don't have to advertise. I don't have to spend money in advertising if I could actually reach someone that was interested, and I'm lucky enough that would be interested in my product, and maybe I sell them something. And number four, you're prepping the market. The cold call preps the market. It prepares the market for you to get in front of them at a later date. I built my first business at 29 years old on a cold call. When people hung up on me, I could go into San Antonio or El Paso or Chicago or Miami. All these cities that I went into, I would prep call them for 3 days. And even when they hung up on me, because that could be hey, I don't want that, okay? Or there might be like, no, I'm not interested. Hey, when I'm in town, can I come by and see you? Yeah, sure, come by and see me, but I'm not interested. Or the third one might be what? Yeah, I'd be interested. Come by and see me when you're in Miami. See, I would prep the market. Even the person that hung up on me, when I showed up in Miami or Chicago or wherever, I could go by and say, hey, I'm the guy you hung up on. I just wanted to put my hand in your hand, just introduce myself to you. See, the cold call builds courage, works out your presentation, saves you money in advertising when you're starting up, and it preps the market. I'm going to show you how to handle this call, how to become a pro at it, how to use it in your business as a resource, okay? Get that belt ready. Get ready to learn how to make a cold call, okay? You're in the right place at the right time, and at some point in your life, you have to learn how to do this.